Dirty Scrap Podcast.
Happy Halloween to everyone, and here we go again, another episode of Dirty Scrap, the aluminum podcast, the podcast where we dive into the sustainability point of view of the recycling industry. And today, I want to give you some heads up about what is coming, or at least about what I think coming for the elections. We are just right there. Next month is a very, very important, I will say the most important decision in the free world that we will have on the elections related who is going to be the president of the United. Why I or let's start it with why I am going in this direction and what I think about who is going to win. Definitely, we have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, as always, pushing very hard on each side. Now, saying that, I really think that Trump has a really good advantage right now. Also, I think that Trump is more on the side of making the economy better, and Kamala is more on the side of, more immigrants. And I am an immigrant, of course. I'm from Colombia. I came here almost like 8 years ago, but I came in a legal way, of course. And I've been visiting this country since I was 3 years old. So I know the country very well. I've been around the globe several times. And United States is a really good country that has a lot of industry that is moving in the right direction right now. But saying that, I think Trump is going to win. And my predictions, according to these elections, related to the sustainability point of view, aluminum industry, recycling, energy. So that's what I want to talk about. So let's start with the landfill. Last week, I was visiting some customers, and I was a visit with one of the president of one of the biggest companies in the recycling industry in the U.S. For obviously, I will not say the name. But we was talking about landfills and the flexibility that we have in the US. Comparing to the flexibility that we have in the European market, it's a really, really huge gap that we have in the middle. The European market, they have no landfills, and they need to go to certain companies, to pay a toll for the salt cake and all these byproducts that they are producing during the melting process. Better during the recycling process, because the melting process, when it's very clean, you don't have too many complications, right? But it's more on the recycling side. Now, saying that, United States and land. So let's talk a little bit about the landfills that we have here. We have huge landfills that right now we have a lot of restrictions, or we supposed to have more restrictions in the upcoming years because of the regulations. Now, talking about the regulations and the landfills, what we need to understand is what is in the landfills and how we can manage the landfills in a better way. Why? Because definitely I don't think, and the president of this company, he were talking about the landfills that they have, that is one of the biggest one in America. And he was saying, like, I don't think that this will change next year. Why? We need a way to dispose all our materials in the right way. I don't think it is healthy just to say you don't need, or you are not able to dispose of these materials, because you will create it in every different process, right? At the end, it's something that you will create. You need to understand how to increase the best practices to avoid generation of these byproducts, but anyway, you will generate it. So saying that, the problem with the landfills is, first one, that we are mixing a lot of different materials, including trash. So when we are putting trash or garbage, that is, organic products, mixing these products with metal, that is very valuable source of, let's say, material that we can reuse, that is a big problem. So we need to understand how to separate those things. The second point is, a lot of people is talking about, and even me, I did it in the past, because I had a lot of information about how much metal we have. And I think it's even more that the amount that I talked like months ago. But we were talking about 90 million tons of aluminum that we can dig out from the landfill. And that is true. We have even more material right now. But the problem is, during the years, the oxygen been doing, job. So it's oxidized the surface of the material and going deeper and deeper and deeper to create more oxide. So what I think right now is, even though we can have this material there, make no sense, or this amount of material there, make no sense to go and try to dig in and take it out, because we will have a lot of oxide. So from the point of view of landfills, I think what we will see if Trump gets to be, to the presidential and start a new administration, we will see a lot of flexibility here. So from the flexibility point of view, I think the approach will be China, just go ahead and try to make as better as you can, but landfills will be there. And we will understand, or we need to understand, that the material that is there is not a really good material to dig in, and it's going to cost a fortune to take it out and process it against the amount of material that we can take out and recycle. So that's one of the points that I want to talk. Let's talk about flexibility right now. We will see a lot of flexibility. If you talk to these big companies right now and you ask them, what do you prefer? A tax reduction on the tariff of the taxes, or you prefer some more flexibility from the regulations point of view? And definitely 100% of those big players said regulation, because going in the direction that we are going right now, regulations and environmental regulations mostly is going to be complicated. And the problem with the regulation, once you want to have a permit to perform whatever, let's say, industry that you want to perform, the problem is some of these regulations are so complicated that will back up those projects years in the time. So the input that we need right now to put the aluminum recycling industry, specifically the aluminum recycling industry, and I will talk about EVs and energy later, but in order to put the recycling industry in the point that we want to put it to be competitive against China and Russia, we need more flexibility. But when I am talking about flexibility, it's not forgetting that we need to avoid CO2 emissions, and also I am not on the path that, hey, let's forget about what all the improvement that we can do. No, for me, sustainability is a way to make things better. It's not just about CO2 emissions, because CO2 emissions is a very complicated topic, because we also need to understand what is the real amount of CO2 that we have in our atmosphere right now. But it's a controversy topic right now. I don't want to talk about this right now, but when we understand this, we can understand that it's better to focus ourselves in generate better aluminum recoveries out of the scrap that we can collect out there than just focusing ourselves on the CO2. Why? Because the problem that we have right now, and I said this several times, even talking with some guests, is the problem is we are comparing the primary aluminum industry against the secondary. And that is not the best way to do it, because it's like comparing apples with pears. You need to compare apples with apples. The flexibility will allow us to keep moving in the direction that we are moving, that is better recycling rate, better aluminum recyclable material collection, better sorting, better segregation, better technology that will improve not just the sustainable point of view of the United States companies, but also that will improve the profit and will make the industry greater, so we can be more competitive against other countries right now. And that's take me to what we will see. We will see more flexibility, definitely. So everything related to regulations will be like more easy for us to get any permit. But also, I want to encourage you people to not slow down the recycling up, because once we see all these different type of, let's say, flexibility out there, even more than the flexibility that really we already have right now, my concern is, okay, so maybe we don't need to be on the green path anymore, and we will slow down the recycling pressure that we have right now. No, let's keep in the same direction. As much as recyclable material we can add in our aluminum processes, as better. Why? Because we will be in a point that is not about the CO2 emissions, it's about how reuseful we can make all these products that we are manufacturing in the daily basis. Now, talking about aluminum industry, the aluminum industry is growing. Yes, it's growing. And it's growing because we have one or two different industries that is pushing very hard on this direction. That is electrical vehicles, and I will say maybe some industries between green buildings and aerospace, right? We have SpaceX with amazing rocket landing that I was thinking, oh, this rocket will crash against the structure, and then you saw the flame, and was amazing what this guy Elon Musk is doing. But again, those industries are very complicated. Let's talk about the EV. Let's put on the side on a side right now the space chips and the aerospace, because it's a little bit different. NASA is they are keeping in the loop with Elon Musk, trying to make the things better. And universe studies is something that we really want to keep for the future because it's so interesting. Now, saying that, electrical vehicles, and I talk about this several times, to me looks like not just for the US, for everyone, it's impossible to make an electrical vehicle without China. And I will talk about the percentage again because I think it's very important to understand it. It's not just about recycling rates. It's not about aluminum quality that we can have using a really good formula between how much aluminum from the primary sector we are using against the recyclable aluminum that we are using to combine those aluminum, let's say, raw materials and create something great. It's not just about that. Everyone is talking about that, and as greener as you can be, as much as money that you can charge, so blah, 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 whatever, yes, that's great. But if we are moving in the direction that the EVs are the industry that is pushing the aluminum recycling industry to move ahead and to be a great industry, I think we have a really complicated because of two different things. The first one, China. The second one, electricity. So let's talk about China. China manufactured the 54% of the EVs in the world. 54, more than the half, more than a half. It's more than 50%. So that's a lot. Then 77% of the cobalt mining for the cathodes on the battery parts that we need on the EV is China, 77%, and we are closing mining here in the US. So from the flexibility point of view, I think Trump will allow more mining and fracking. And let's talk about fracking later, because fracking is where we have more oil to build more gas, to build more combustion engine car, and we are going in that direction. I will finish my argument here. And then we have 66% of the battery assembly China. But we are fighting against China to make our industry and our country better. And I am saying our country because I live here and I am really close to become a citizen. And I love this country, even if I am from Colombia. And I love Colombia, of course. But America, or North America, because Colombia is in America, North America is a country that allows people to be whatever they want and money and to be great. And it is what it is. So at the end, I really want this country to just move in the direction that we used to be, a great country. Now, saying that, if we are going in the direction on everyone needs to have an EV, we will have huge dependency on China. And I don't think that this is what we want to do. And the problem is, if we have no flexibility and if we don't understand that the EVs, I think, shouldn't be, at least right now, the industry that we need to support the most. So we will finish in that direction, right? We will finish in that, let's say, land where will be like very dependent on China. Now, EVs is the electrical vehicles, they are a great tool or to use. They are amazing, they are fast, they are comfortable, they have huge and high quality technology. They are beautiful. Yeah. But if you go and see what is happening, for example, with, I think it's Ford is losing $13,000 per every EV that they are selling. This is crazy. Why? So in order to support that industry that the government is pushing a lot for the people to go in that direction, they need to increase the combustion engine cars, so the final consumer is paying more because they need to support the amount of money that they are losing right now on the EVs. And if we go to California by 2025, next year, they're supposed to have a law that is a must, that everyone in California should have an electrical vehicle. But in California, we have blackouts every week. We don't have enough energy to support the city. Now tell me what we're gonna do in California when everyone have an electrical vehicle. So we are not talking here anymore about sustainability. Sustainability, as I said, is something that will allow me to perform better in so many different ways. It's not just about CO2, because if we are talking about CO2, electrical vehicles is a really good tool, but tell me about how lithium batteries are manufactured, or tell me about how mining lithium is ecological. It's not. So I really think that we need to understand what is going to come with Trump on that side. And what is going to come is, first of all, and let's talk about tariff right now. Well, let's keep talking about energy. First of all, I think nuclear power is going to be an option because we have solar panels, solar energy, we have wind energy, but those type of energies are not enough. Not at all. How? Without nuclear power, we will be not able to move in the EVs direction. No, no way. Now, saying that, what is the issue with the nuclear power? We can say it's completely clean, it's super green, more than any other one. Wind, if you see those big systems that create energy from the wind, you see that they have no living life in there. They kill all the birds. It's very complicated to, bury those things. I mean, recyclable those things is very complicated. They are not creating a huge amount of energy. Solar panels, well, they have a limitation. It's a really good approach, but they have a lot of limitations. Even Elon Musk says it's not limited. I think it is. But anyway, nuclear power is very clean. Oh yes, super clean. Is almost unlimited. This, and we already know how to deal with this. The problem is we are always going back and talking about Chernobyl and but that is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem with the nuclear power is we can weaponize this source of energy. So the problem right now is not global warming, is warming by nuclear power, and that this power can be weaponized by any nation. So this can put in risk of war a lot of different countries. So that's why we are not going on the nuclear power direction. So what we can do, I think we need to understand that combustion engine cars is a good option for the future. Still, yes, we will see more fracking, so we will create more gas with the Trump administration, so we will see less EVs. The EVs will go down, at least in the US. So you can say, okay, but China has the 54% of the manufacturing of the EVs. So China will put all these EVs into the market through Mexico. Let's talk about tariff because this is something that is coming. And if you don't believe me, you can go and check the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump. And he was very clear about what he said about the tariff. Is if China keep building manufacturing plants in Mexico to build EVs, to send those EVs to United States, he will increase by 100 or even 200% the tariff to make those vehicles impossible to be buy here in the US. So that is something that I think is very interesting to understand. I think he will work on some tax reduction, maybe, but definitely he will work on tariff to protect the internal market, and he will push the industry to keep moving with more flexibility. So as a conclusion, we will see more flexibility from the environmental point of view, definitely on the regulations. Definitely is going to be easier for all the industries, including the aluminum recycling industry, to have some permits. So we will see a lot of projects in the upcoming 4 years. So people will be more involved in technology. So I encourage, again, all the people that is checking this episode, keep moving forward with the sustainability point of view, but think about sustainability as something that will allow you to make your industry better, your company more profitable, to have better recycling rates. It's technology that will allow you to increment your recycling percentage into your process and avoid a little bit more of the dependency that we have right now on the primary side. Primary is great. I am not saying it's not, but it's expensive, is energy intensive, is creating a lot of CO2 emissions, but we depend on that, right? But so let's keep moving in the way that we want better technology, that we will have better understanding about the percentage of recyclable material that I can use. Let's keep talking about sorting and segregation. That is amazing. And a lot of people out there is doing a great job on that direction or on that matter. Saying that, we will have the flexibility. Let's use the flexibility to create more projects, to have better logistic on the permit point of view, because we can accelerate everything and we can create more industry in the US that can make our economy stronger. Now, saying that, let's see the EVs as a potential tool, but not create dependency on the EVs to create more demand on aluminum, because aluminum is a great material. Let's see how we can have other sources of aluminum demand, green aluminum demand, that we can, use to keep growing this industry. It's a beautiful industry. We don't need to depend on China. We need to understand how we can create a better demand from different industries and move in that direction. because we will see more fracking, so we will see more oil, so we will see more gas, so we can increase, so we will increase the combustion engines cars in the market, because if we don't, those companies that are losing a lot of money on the EVs, even Audi just months ago closed the EVs manufacturing facility, because for them make no sense. They are not selling. They are expensive. It's energy risky from the point of view that we don't have enough energy. And as a conclusion as well, we will have maybe some other sources, old other sources, energy in the US. Let's see if we can recuperate those nuclear power plants. That I think is a really good idea, but we will have some risky of weaponize those plants. I don't think so, but that's the issue that we have, and that's the concern. And finally, tariff. I have my notes here. Tariff. We will see a lot of tariff on Chinese companies and maybe also Russian companies. Trump will stop the war between Russia and Ukraine, yes, definitely, but that can make the Chinese and the Russian government to start making or putting some tariff on the American companies that they have over there. So definitely we will see more tariff here. That is good. I mean, you have two options when the tariff goes up. The first one is, okay, if you are not smart enough, you will put more money on those products, Chinese or Russian products. You can do it in your pocket, right? Or we will see an internal market growth that I think is going to be great for all the industry. So again, this is Julio Quintero. This is Dirty Scrap, the Aluminum Podcast, the podcast where we dive into the sustainability point of view of the recycling side of the aluminum industry. And for all of you guys, happy Halloween. Thank you so much. Have a great Halloween evening, and don't eat too much candy. Sugar is bad for you guys. Bye-bye. Take care.
Dirty Scrap Podcast.